Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's podcast. Joining me today on Edmonton's podcast is Gail Taylor, who is a songwriter, speaker, entrepreneur, and many other things. Thanks for joining us today, Gail.
Oh, Mario, thanks for having me.
All right, tell us a little bit about what you do, because as I said, there's quite a span of things there. But uh, what do you focus on, and what do you do up in Edmonton?
I'll tell you how I got here too, because this is kind of my interesting story. Is I was a financial advisor for 25 years, and when I was 58, I started taking piano lessons, and I had no music background, none. And I just like it was learning the scales, the whole bit, and I just fell in love with it. And so after 2 years, I thought, I'm going to retire a little earlier than I had planned, and I'm going to study music full time. So I sold my practice at the age of 61, started studying music full time. That's the jack of all trades thing. It was bass guitar, songwriting, ear training, you name it, the whole bit. 2 years later, I thought maybe I'll reinvent myself as a musician. And when I told that story to folks, I kept getting, oh, that's so inspiring. I'm going to go do beep, beep, something they put on the back burner. So I thought, whoa, I'm coming out of retirement. I'm going to start a business, Gail Taylor Music, and I'm going to become a keynote speaker and help other people figure out how to be their best selves using my personal stories. So yeah, that's what I'm up to.
So, when you talk about your music, can you talk a little bit about, so what do you do? Like, what do you play? Like, what kind of music do you play as well?
Songwriter and I play the keyboard. And
Uh,
so once I write a song, I co-produce it with I work out in Nashville. I'm in Edmonton, but I have a studio that I record with in Nashville.
oh, cool.
So and sometimes I go down there and sometimes we do it by Zoom.
Yeah.
And so I'll tell them what I'm looking for. So and I'll give them a demo. I'll make a demo by myself or with my co-writer, and then I'll record it in Nashville. And then I distribute it. I put a video on it and I distribute it through a distribution. So all my music, I have a catalog of 13 songs. It are all like on Spotify and Apple and YouTube, wherever you want to listen to them. And in the last, out of the 13, the last five, I even got good enough to play the keyboards on my own song.
Cool. And,
Yeah.
and so, how would you classify the genre of music?
Country rock, pop rock. I'm still trying to find where I fit. There are a couple of social songs about equality and the environment, and they're kind of a soft rock.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
So how does somebody, who uses that? I always get mixed up left side or right side of the brain, whatever it is. But one side of the brain, which is very analytical and logistical, and all that stuff, right? How does one take that side of the brain and now into the artistic and creative side of the brain?
Well, I don't know that you had to shift sides because music is all math. Music is math. It's all broken into beats and quarter beats and
Yeah,
everything's math.
yeah,
And then also finance is very creative. Like it to do a finance business, like I manage people's high net worth individuals' retirement portfolios. And I had to design the portfolios, and it's not, the stock market's not a science. As you know, it goes up and down.
yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of creativity. I actually didn't find them to be black and white. I found that there was real middle ground on both my chapters of my life.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So when you're looking at music, you know, friend of mine, I try and remember his phrase, but he talks about music being, the good for the soul, and have you found that, like, it nurtures our soul, and music?
Absolutely. And I think it heals, right? So when I decided I was going to be a keynote speaker, I tell personal stories. I had a lot of challenges in my life, and there was, everything from family addiction to marriage breakdowns. There was a lot of challenges, a lot of curveballs coming my way.
Yeah.
When I tell these personal stories and some of I've been studying personal growth since the 70s, personal growth, peak performance. And so when I talk about these things and then I share a story, some tools folks can use. And then I'll put a song and a video up on the big screen behind me. I think music is healing. I think, you can just listen to a song and it can just create so much positive energy for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking of myself. So, it depends on the mood, right? Sometimes I'm in the mood to listen. What am I listening to this afternoon? I'm listening to these energy music. You go for a massage and
Oh yeah, yeah.
I have that, right? And with Tibetan bells and stuff like that. And switch gears. And if I want to really get going, it's okay, it's time for some AC/DC, right?
There you go. There you go. And I got a little bit of all of it. I got the ballads and I got the boogie songs in my in my catalog.
Yeah, exactly. So and music also takes you back to events and things in your life, doesn't it? Like I find myself that if I hear a song, I'm transported back to a certain time or a certain period or something that happened. Do you find that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And being a baby boomer, I mean, I'm going back to like I saw Chuck Berry live.
Oh, wow, that's great.
I can go back a ways, and but I'm with you. Like the Rolling Stones, like because I started music this late in life, I thought, okay, I'm 68 now, and so my journey, maybe I got a couple of decades left. Heck, Mick Jagger's going on tour at the age
Yeah.
of 80.
And yeah, and not slowing down from what I've seen.
Willie Nelson, he's still out there too. So I figure, yeah, there's a lot of and I mean your question made me think of those guys because those songs that bring back memories from when you were going to Stones concerts.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when you're out there as a speaker, what kind of topics do you cover, and like who's your audience?
Yeah, so I have three main topics, and my audiences are conferences and a lot of events, corporate events. I can talk to 500, 1,000 people,
Yeah.
and my three topics are mental health and addiction, and empowerment, empowering women, and leveling up. And so, leveling up, the audience is just I mean, get me in front of some nurses and teachers, man, because those folks got beat up by COVID.
Yeah.
And, to talk to them about working, that was a pretty big curveball, right? I talk a lot about the curveballs that life throws at us. And it's not the curveballs that matters, it's how you are able to handle them and get through them and grow from,
Yeah.
right? And so leveling up is anybody that is in a place in their life where they want to get to that next level. They want to get out of their funk. They want to get farther up in their career, wherever they're trying to go. And then a lot of my addiction topic is for folks that had loved ones that had addictions, and or people that work in that industry, or doctors or
Mm.
nurses. But I mean, we've got an epidemic right now in our country.
Yeah.
The opioid epidemic is just brutal. So many people are dying from fentanyl, and it's just so many families are being affected by it. And my talk is for them to give themselves permission to still be happy with their lives,
Hmm.
even though the loved one's going through some brutal
Yeah.
parallel journey.
Now, when we talk about mental health, I know it was well, it is a big topic today, but it became like really big during the pandemic. For those 2 years, 3 years, whatever. You know, and addictions, whether they're drugs or alcohol, have always been there. But do you think they're kind of accelerated these days because of the things like the COVID that we've gone through, and now, you know, the economic challenges that practically every person in this country faces, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think COVID really did a number on a lot of folks. Like I talk about reinventing yourself. Now I reinvented myself because I wanted to, but a lot of folks were forced to,
Yeah,
right? And so and then, you know, a lot of people did self-medicate during COVID with alcohol or drugs just to help them get through it and help them deal with what was going on. Heck, we have TV commercials now on saying, you know, you overindulged during COVID, but maybe considering backing off.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you know that that happened. The real problems right now is that the opioid product has got a deadly ingredient in it that's causing so many people to OD. No, I went to a mental health breakfast, and they were giving the naproxen kits to people so
yeah.
that if you happen to see somebody OD downtown, you could just jab them and help them stay alive. You wouldn't believe, Mario, the lawyers, the accountants, the business people that were lined up to get these kits.
Wow.
I was so impressed with the people doing that, but I was so horrified that we're in that time, that frame right now where
Yeah.
you have to do that. That's scary stuff.
It is scary stuff. I want to talk to you a little bit about your leveling up stuff. So, what is the key there? Like, you know, I think most of us, if we have any an ounce of ambition in us, we want to get better, right? And we want to do better and A, who we are, and then B, what we do, right? And so, what is the key to leveling up and going the next level?
Yeah, okay, so there's a number of keys, but I'll touch on one,
Like,
right? And because there's a number of them.
yeah,
I mean, you're here, you want to be here,
yeah,
right? So that's step one, is define. You're here, you want to be here. So what's in between? What are the steps you got to take to get in between? And what sets apart the people that actually end up making it is the follow through, right? They follow through. Everybody can figure out that roadmap. You follow through. It's like a diet. Everybody knows how to eat healthy and in moderation, but how do you follow through with it?
yeah,
So one of the keys, one of the things that really worked for me, and I've read several books on it, is your internal chat. That power that it, I mean, it's positive thinking, internal chat. And
yeah.
so if you're giving yourself limited beliefs in yourself, then your subconscious mind's going to do what you tell it.
Mm,
And so what I did and what I train folks to do is, you're thinking in your mind all these positive things that you want to do, and then all of a sudden, oh, I can't do that because, you know, I don't have the right education or I don't have the right contacts. Then stop that. There's a couple of ways. One way, I actually sell pendants that you use as a trigger. So you literally, mine says staying young, but you literally take the pendant and you scratch it and you rub it and you say, okay, you know, staying young, positive thinking. I don't want to be limited. I want to do this. And you manifest in your brain what it is that you want.
yeah.
Before I had the pendants, I just used the words garbage in, garbage out. And I stole that from an Olympic athlete.
Oh,
And
really?
that was, you know, absolutely, that's what she did. She found herself thinking negative. She'd go, garbage in, garbage out. It's good if you're alone when you blast it out like that,
Yeah.
when you're
Have you
walking down the street. Garbage in, garbage
yeah.
out.
Have you ever used little sticky post-it notes on your computer or your mirror or whatever with positive thoughts?
Absolutely, everywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I do. Yeah. Yeah. Because once you can shift that internal dialogue,
Yeah.
you can make it so that it stays shift through your whole life. I shifted it 20 years ago, and 80-90% of the time I'm doing positive thinking and dancing through life.
Hmm. It's interesting. Yeah, but it's hard. It's not an easy thing, especially when we see everything that's going on today, right? It impacts us. It impacts our minds quite substantially, doesn't it?
It's not any easier than going to school and getting a degree. It's not any easier than learning a trade. Yeah, that's the whole point. It's hard and you have to do it every day and you have to follow through with it.
Yeah,
So it's like learning a piano, learning a new language, running a marathon. Things that are worthwhile aren't always easy, right? You have to put a lot of work and a lot of effort, but then if you do it, you get to design your own life.
and how important is it if you fall to get back up?
It's important, and you don't lose what was behind you, right?
Yeah,
It's if you train to run a marathon and all of a sudden you have a little setback, your training doesn't go away. There,
true.
your muscles are built, you've got the heart going. Like, it's the same with this.
There's,
Stumbling's a reality. That's life. Curveballs are coming at you and you're gonna step back, and but that doesn't mean you let go of it.
yeah. Okay, you mentioned
Lifestyle choice, like healthy eating is a lifestyle choice, or exercising is a lifestyle choice.
yeah,
Brushing your teeth every day is a lifestyle choice.
it's true. We have choices in our lives all the time. You mentioned the phrase curveballs a few times. Now, this is a subject or the title of a book you're writing, correct?
I am, as a keynote speaker. So I hired an entertainment lawyer, actually out of Calgary. And when I was setting things up, he said, I think you should write a book to accompany you on the speaking and add to your credibility. And I had already written a book. I used to teach Introduction to the Financial Markets at the University of Alberta to the
Oh,
Faculty of Extension. And I couldn't find a textbook I liked, so I wrote one. So I had already written and published a book on a topic I was passionate about. And I thought, yeah, no problem. I could do it again. So Curveballs is a book that a lot about the things we've been talking about. It talks about all my personal stories and a lot of the curveballs that life threw at me, my father dying, me spiraling out of control, and then all these tools that I learned that worked for me. I figured if they work for me, they could work for anybody.
hmm.
And so yeah, I'm really excited. It's coming out in the spring.
Oh, cool. All right. So tell me, when you look at examples out there of and stories of people who have done things and been successful, how important is that to provide inspiration for yourself? Not, I don't mean like yourself like you, but yourself, just people.
Right.
Are stories of inspirational stories important for people to follow and look at?
I think they are. I think they're really important, but it's also important to listen to the messaging behind it. And it doesn't matter whether you're listening to, I don't know, Oprah Winfrey or Tony Robbins or Dolly Parton. It doesn't matter. If you listen to them, they're all saying the same thing and they're all saying what I'm saying. It's amazing how much crossover there is to what makes people take their dreams to reality. And anytime you listen to these speakers, if you listen to 10 of them and you took notes and said 5 tools that they gave you, I bet you anything across the 10, there's going to be at least 3 or 4 overlap on them. That's going to be how much it's
Yeah.
easy. You just have to learn the formula and then do the work and follow through.
Hmm.
And they're all giving you the formula.
So, over the years, and this is going to get a little personal, but oh, these kind of personal growth, personal development people have been around for a long time, right? The sort of the Dale Carnegies, the Napoleon Hills of the world, the Norman Vincent Peale, all
I
that.
read them all.
I read them all too. That's why I said it was going to get personal. But don't you find that it's these types of people and what they're talking about has grown, has accelerated in the last, I don't know, 10 years, 20 years, and you mentioned like the Tony Robbins of the world, and there's many others out there. Why do you think that's happened?
I think two things happen. I think when you're talking about the 10 years, because it was really, really that whole personal growth industry went crazy in the 70s and 80s,
Yeah,
right? And I mean, you can still walk into any bookstore and buy Think and Grow Rich.
true.
It's still there. And so I don't think any of, I think the last 10 years, people have been uh, not only reading from what you and I talked about and the classics of it, but more has been written. Like I've been reading this book, The Art of the Impossible, Peak Performance,
Oh yeah.
right? By this Stephen Kotler.
Okay.
And he's basically all what we just talked about higher and saying, hey, you want peak performance? Here's exactly, I mean, we're talking cold plunges to get your system awake and alive,
Yeah.
right? And so I just think there's a lot of, it's always going to be human nature. There's always going to be people out there that want to level up, like you said, that, they're, I describe myself as somebody who craves productivity.
Hmm.
And I'm not alone. I'm
Yeah.
not alone. There's a lot of people out there. And so this industry isn't going to go away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My personal favorite, small little book, As a Man Thinketh. I don't know if you ever read that.
I missed that one.
Okay, I
I
think it
better
was
write
the
it down,
I,
especially if that was your favorite. As a man thinketh. Okay.
yeah, I think the author was a guy named James Allen, but again, it's all about, the garbage in, garbage out type thing, right? And which is so big. So tell me, Gail, obviously you do a lot of stuff here. What do you do to relax? And and don't say music, you got to have something else.
I'm a biker, so I
Okay.
go biking,
Like a
and
bike, what kind of bike?
we have e-bikes, but we
Okay.
usually go out and do I go out with my husband on the weekends and we'll do like 30 to 50 kilometers.
Oh, cool.
And so, yeah, we're out like a good 3 hours and you can get as much exercise as you want with those bikes.
Yeah,
But when it comes to going up a hill, it allows us to go all over the city, right? And so,
exactly.
yeah, so that's one thing I do. The second thing is I have a couple of little grandchildren,
Uh,
that 1 year old and 2.5 year old that live in Edmonton. So I spend a lot of time playing with them and dancing with them. And oh, sometimes I put the music on.
yeah,
But yeah, I have a lot of fun. So those are my two. And you know what? When we go back to the tools and being your best self,
yeah.
I think downtime is so important. I think you have to schedule downtime into your agenda as a really important. Like I come down to the music studio. You're in my music studio now, and I come down here around 6 in the morning, and I go back upstairs at 4 o'clock. And I spend my evenings with my husband. We have dinner together and our evening together, and then I take my weekends off and do my do my grandkids on my bike.
But it's tough, right? Especially if entrepreneurial world. You're a business owner. You've got a lot of stuff going on in your head, lots of responsibility and pressures and challenges, etc. It's tough to carve out some time for some downtime, but it's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, and where it becomes untough, I should be doing time management too as one of my one of my speeches. Where it becomes easier is when you understand in your head that just as important as the work time, and it allows you to be more efficient in the work time, right? If you get out of your head and you go, relax and do your fun things,
Yeah.
when you get back to work, uh, you're a lot sharper than if you don't leave it.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, that's what I find. And then the other part too, when you were talking about, how do you level up? The other thing that I think is really important is that you find a job that you're passionate about or that has purpose
Yeah.
for you, because you spend 50% of your waking hours at work, right? And so don't be sludging, don't settle. And a job, people will say, well, I need a paycheck so that I could pay my mortgage and my family. Absolutely. But a job that I would love to do, somebody else would hate to do and they'd be sludging, right? So the one that works for you, that you're passionate about, it's out there. And if you're in one that's not, either turn it into a passion or move on. But I really believe that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks very much, Gail, for joining us today.
Oh man, thank you for having me. This was really nice.
All right, wonderful. That was Gail Taylor, who is a songwriter, speaker, and an entrepreneur. And
Send people to my website, gailtaylormusic.com.
so repeat that again.
Taylor Music.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, thank.
Gail. Gail.
Okay,
Thanks,
excellent.
Mario.
Okay, thank you, Gail. That was Gail Taylor. Again, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's podcast, today, Edmonton's podcast. Thanks for joining us.